So let's talk about the W's of the foraging process. Who, what, why, where, when? These are the questions we'll ask. Who? Well, anyone can forage. Anybody, you go out and you grab a plant, that's foraging. Good ones live through it because they don't collect the poisonous stuff. And the really good ones thrive because it makes them healthier. So you need to be at least a good forager. What to forage? So you want food, you want medicine, you want taste. You're not going to find much great taste in nature. It's not bad, it's just not sugar. So that's why it's at the bottom of the list. Food, I mean, you can go out and you can eat a cattail. How many know that you can eat a cattail? You know, the things that look like little corn dogs along the side of the swamp? Well, they're like corn dogs. You can cook them up and eat them. Cattails are amazingly tasty. You can use it for medicine. One thing I just amazes me is there's a little weed called, a lot of people call creeping Charlie, that you get in your yard, a little round leaf. Everybody hates creeping Charlie. Oh, horrible stuff. But when they were painting buildings with lead-based paint back in the day, and the painters got toxic from all the lead that got into their system, they would make tea from creeping Charlie. It would remove the lead. So plants can be used very effectively as medicines. And taste, yeah, well, you can get used to it if you want. Some of them taste pretty good. Fruits and berries. Why? Well, self-reliance. There's going to be a movement in the next 10 years or so when people start to become more self-reliant. They're starting to learn to take care of themselves, realizing that the system that society has created is not necessarily the best, and they're going to want to take care of themselves, and they have to do it on their own. Self-care, it's great that we have the medical profession that we can go to. Doctors that are out there, they don't understand weeds, surprisingly enough. I see a lung doctor, which is one of the driving forces for me to get into this whole process. He says, well, you're getting better, but I don't know why. And I can't tell you what to do because I've not been trained in any of that stuff, but just keep doing whatever it is you're doing. So it works, and we can take care of ourselves if we study and learn about it. And there's a great deal of satisfaction. You know, when I walk down the street with my grandsons, and I say, well, look at that weed will make you stronger, and that weed will make you healthier, and this weed will clear up your acne and all that. So it's very satisfying to know that and to share that. Where? Well, we want to make sure that we pick the places for foraging that are suitable for doing that. They need to be legal. We need to respect the environment that we're going into. We have to be safe. So you can't forage in the county or state parks. They don't allow you to take products out of there, so you have to forage somewhere where you're able to do it. You don't want to forage out near the waste pile behind the electric company or the steel plants where there's a lot of toxins in the ground. So you want to make sure that you go someplace that's suitable for what it is you're going to do, that you're allowed to go there. Don't sneak into somebody's property and steal stuff. They might want it, and they wouldn't be happy if you took it. Respect the environment, the people around you. Make sure you do this safely. When to do it? Well, first of all, understand your objectives. Well, let me talk about safety a little bit here. When we talk about safety, we're talking about all kinds of safety. So you want to make sure that you're not taking in toxins and pollutants from the environment. So you don't go to waste properties, you don't go to scraggly areas, you don't collect alongside the road, because all these plants absorb all the exhaust fumes from the cars. You also don't want to be saying, oh, look at that plant down there just over the edge of the cliff. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you're safe in doing that. You also need to be aware of not just toxins. I like to call it watch out for pollution. So animals use the ground a lot. The plants grow on the ground a lot. So make sure that you wash things off first. And there are a lot of parasites out there in wet areas. So if you do collect cattails for food, make sure you wash it carefully, because there may be parasite eggs on wet plants in wet areas. So you need to be aware of that. Understand your objective. What are you going to, why are you going out there? What is it you're going to do? Just going to take a walk in the woods and see what you find, or you're going to go out there and find something for your headache? Understand what the plants are, what value they have, what you could use them for, what they look like, and so on. So understand the environments that you're going into. We'll talk a little bit about some of those. Understand the timing. So there are particular plants that are very readily available in the spring and gone in the summer. Some come into bloom in the early summer, midsummer, late summer, fall, winter, and so on. So understand your timing of when you're going to find what you're looking for. Now, how do we do it? Well, you need to equip yourself. Sometimes I do these presentations and I put on all the gear. You know, I got the hat and the staff and the digging stuff and the cutting stuff. So you need to have the kind of equipment that you need based upon what it is you're looking for. Surprisingly enough, there's a lot of value in tree bark. It's been said that you can eat a pine tree, and you can't eat most of a pine tree. And pine needles in particular are interesting. If you collect the needles of the white pine, how many people know how many needles are in a white pine bunch? WHITE. There's 5 needles in every bundle on a white pine tree, long, thin needles. It's a fuzzy tree. Pine needle tea can actually cure COVID. Tastes like turpentine, but it works like a charm. So it's also good for colds and flu. So pine needle tea is great. You can eat the inside of the bark if you don't mind eating pine sap. Not pleasant, but if you're going to die otherwise, you can do it. So birch trees, maple trees, beech trees, birch, beech, maple, will all produce sap that has a sweet taste. You can make syrup out of it, or you can drink it. So understanding what's in the forest and when to get it. How much of it do you take? You don't want to take any more than 1/4 of the population in any particular area, preferably less than that. And there's 2 good reasons to do that. Number one, somebody may be behind you, and you want to make sure that nature itself is self-sustaining. So you don't take too much, otherwise you'll destroy the population. So a lot of people like to go out in the spring and collect leeks in the woods, and they come out with bundles and armloads of leeks, because they're delicious, but you destroy the population. It's hard for them to recover when you pull too much of it. How? Searching high and low. So you need to understand what part of a plant has value. So we go flowers, leaves, stems, flowered buds, roots, rhizomes. All those parts of plants may have value. Not all of them for all plants, but you go from the top to the bottom, there is value in the different parts of a plant. In particular, people love dandelions because they're so good for so much. The flower, the buds, the leaves, the stems, the roots, all of that are valuable. The only thing that you don't really want to eat are the little fuzzy stuff. That just gets stuck in your teeth. Make sure you have tools and equipment. So if you're going to be cutting things, if you're going to go out in the back and cut the branch off of a willow tree, you need clippers to do that. Why would you cut the branch off a willow tree? Well, the scientific name for willow is salix. Salix is like salicylate, which is the origin of aspirin. So the bark of a willow tree, if you make a tea out of it, will act like an aspirin. It'll stop a headache. If you put it in an ointment, like a painless salve that I have over there, it'll actually relieve the pain in your joints from arthritis. It's that effective. And it doesn't hurt your stomach, it doesn't thin your blood, and it doesn't interact with other chemicals. Make sure you're safe. So Good footwear, protective gear, water, hat, and so on. Make sure you're properly equipped when you're out foraging. Only take what you need, and what you need to leave behind. Make sure you need to leave enough behind for the next person or for nature to take care of itself and continue to reproduce. It will restore itself automatically if you don't take too much.